March 2013. The build, which was believed to be of Windows Blue, revealed a number of enhancements across Windows 8's interface, including additional size options for tiles, expanded color options and the start screen. The expansion of PC settings to include memory options that were previously exclusive to the desktop control panel. The ability for apps to snap to half of the screen. The ability to take screenshots from the share charm. Additional stock apps, increased SkyDrive integration, such as automatic device backups, and Internet Explorer 11.12.13. Shortly afterward, on March 26, 2013, Corporate Vice President of Corporate Communications Frank X. Shaw officially acknowledged the Blue project, stating that continuous development would be the new normal at Microsoft and that our product groups are also taking a unified planning approach so people get what they want, all of their devices, apps and services working together wherever they are and for whatever they are doing. 14. In early May, press reports announcing the upcoming version in Financial Times and The Economist negatively compared Windows 8 to New Coke. 15. 16. The theme was then echoed and debated in The Computer Press. 17. 18. 19. Shaw rejected this criticism as extreme. 20. Adding that he saw a comparison with Diet Coke as more appropriate. 21. On the 14th of May, 2013, Microsoft announced that Blue was officially unveiled as Windows 8.1.22, following a keynote presentation focusing on this version. The public beta of Windows 8.1 was released on June 26, 2013, during Build. 23, 24, 25. Build 9600 of Windows 8.1 was released to OEM hardware partners on the 27th of August, 2013, and became generally available on the 17th of October, 2013. 26, 27. Unlike paced releases of Windows and its service packs, volume license customers and subscribers to MSDN Plus and TechNet Plus were unable to obtain the RTM version upon its release. A spokesperson stated that their change in policy was to allow Microsoft to work with OEMs to ensure a quality experience at general availability. 28, 29. Microsoft stated that Windows 8.1 would be released to the general public on October 17, 2013. 30. However, after criticism, Microsoft reversed its decision and released the RTM build on MSDN and TechNet on September 9, 2013. 31. Microsoft announced that Windows 8.1, along with Windows Server 2012 R2, was released to manufacturing on the 27th of August, 2013. 30. Prior to the release of Windows 8.1, Microsoft premiered a new television commercial in late September 2013 that focused on its changes as part of the Windows Everywhere campaign. 32. Shortly after its release, Windows RT 8.1 was temporarily recalled by Microsoft following reports that some users had encountered a rare bug which corrupted the operating system's boot configuration data during installation, resulting in an error on startup. 33, 34. On the 21st of October, 2013, Microsoft confirmed that the bug was limited to the original Surface tablet, and only affected 1 in 1,000 installations. The company last recovery media and instructions which could be used to repair the device, and restored access to Windows RT 8.1 the next day. 35, 36. It was also found that changes to screen resolution handling on Windows 8.1 resulted in mouse input lag in certain video games that do not use the direct input APIs, particularly first-person shooter games including Deus Ex, Human Revolution, Hitman, Absolution, and Metro 2033. Users also found the issues to be more pronounced when using gaming mice with high resolution and / or polling rates. Microsoft released a patch to fix the bug on certain games in November 2013, and acknowledged that it was caused by changes to mouse input processing for low latency interaction scenarios. 37.38 Update. On the 8th of April 2014, Microsoft released the Windows 8.1 update, which included all past updates plus new features. 39. It was unveiled by Microsoft Vice President Joe Belfiore at Mobile World Congress on February 23, 2014, and detailed in full at Microsoft's Build conference on April 2. Belfiore noted that the update would lower the minimum system requirements for Windows, so it can be installed on devices with as little as 1 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage. 40. Unlike Windows 8.1 itself, this cumulative update is distributed through Windows Update, and must be installed in order to receive any further patches for Windows 8.1. 41. At the 2014 Build conference, during April, Microsoft's Terry Myerson unveiled further user interface changes for Windows 8.1, including the ability to run Metro-style apps inside desktop windows, and a revised Start menu, which creates a compromise between the Start menu design used by Windows 7 and the Start screen, by combining the application listing in the first column with a second that can be used to display app tiles, whereas Windows 8.0 used a screen hotspot, hot corner. Myerson stated that these changes would occur in a future update, but did not elaborate further. A distinction is the removal of the tooltip with the preview thumbnail of the Start screen. Microsoft also unveiled a concept known as Universal Windows Apps, in which a Windows runtime app can be ported to Windows Phone 8.1 and Xbox One while sharing a common codebase. While it does not entirely unify Windows app ecosystem with that of Windows Phone, it will allow developers to synchronize data between versions of their app on each platform, and bundle access to Windows, Windows Phone, and Xbox One versions of an app in a single purchase. 42, 43, 44, 45. Microsoft originally announced that users who did not install the update would not receive any other updates after May 13, 2014. 46. However, meeting this deadline proved challenging. The ability to deploy Windows 8.1 updated through Windows Server Update Services (SUS) was disabled shortly after its release following the discovery of a bug which affects the ability to use SUS as a whole in certain server configurations. 47. Microsoft later fixed the issue. 48. But users continued to report that the update may fail to install. 46. Microsoft's attempt to fix the problem was ineffective, to the point that Microsoft pushed the support deadline further to the 30th of June, 2014. 46. 49. On the 16th of May, Microsoft released additional updates to fix a problem of BSOD in the update. 50. Distribution. Microsoft markets Windows 8.1 as an update for Windows 8, avoiding the term upgrade. 51. Microsoft's support lifecycle policy treats Windows 8.1 similar to previous service packs of Windows. It is part of Windows 8's support lifecycle, and upgrading to Windows 8.1 is required to maintain access to support and Windows updates after the 12th of January. 2016. 5. 52. Retail and OEM copies of Windows 8, Windows 8 Pro, and Windows RT can be upgraded through Windows Store free of charge. However, volume license customers, TechNet or MSDN subscribers and users of Windows 8 Enterprise must acquire standalone installation media for Windows 8.1 and install through the traditional Windows setup process, either as an in-place upgrade or clean install. This requires a Windows 8.1 specific product key. 53, 54, 55, 56. Upgrading through Windows Store requires each machine to download an upgrade package as big as 3.6 GB. Unlike the traditional Windows Service Packs, the standalone installer, which could be downloaded once and installed as many times as needed, requires a Windows 8.1 specific product key. 57. On July 1, 2014, acknowledging difficulties users may have had through the Windows Store update method, Microsoft began to phase in an automatic download process for Windows 8.1. 58. Windows 8 was reissued at retail as Windows 8.1 alongside the online upgrade for those who did not currently own a Windows 8 license. Retail copies of Windows 8.1 contain full licenses that can be installed on any computer, regardless of their existing operating system, unlike Windows 8 retail copies which were only available at retail with upgrade licenses. Microsoft stated that the change was in response to customer feedback, and to allow more flexibility for users. Pricing for the retail copies of Windows 8.1 remained the same. 59. Windows 8.1 with Bing is a reduced cost SKU of Windows 8.1 that was introduced by Microsoft in May 2014 in an effort to further encourage the production of low-cost Windows devices, whilst driving end-user usage of Microsoft services such as Bing and OneDrive. It is subsidized by Microsoft's Bing search engine, which is set as the default within Internet Explorer and cannot be changed by OEMs. However, this restriction does not apply to end users, who can still change the default search engine freely. It is otherwise functionally identical to the base edition of Windows 8.1. 60, 61, 62, new and changed features. Many of the changes on Windows 8.1, particularly to the user interface, were made in response to criticisms from early adopters and other critics after the release of Windows 8. 63, 64, user interface and desktop. The Start screen received several enhancements on Windows 8.1, including an extended All Apps view with sort modes, accessed by clicking a new down arrow button or swiping upward, small and extra large sizes for tiles, and colored tiles for desktop program shortcuts. Additional customization options were also added, such as expanded color options, new backgrounds, some of which incorporate animated elements, and the ability for the Start screen to use the desktop background instead. Applications were no longer added to the Start screen automatically when installed, and all applications now have colored tiles. Desktop programs were previously shown in a single color. The app snapping system was also extended. Up to 4 apps can be snapped onto a single display depending on screen size. Apps can be snapped to fill half the screen, and can also be used on any display in a multi-monitor configuration. Apps can also launch other apps in a snapped view to display content. For example, the Mail app can open a photo attachment in a picture viewer snapped to another half of the screen. Improved support is also provided by apps for using devices in a portrait, vertical, orientation. The lock screen offers the ability to use a photo slideshow as its backdrop, and a shortcut to the camera app by swiping up. The on-screen keyboard has an improved autocomplete mechanism which displays multiple word suggestions, and allows users to select from them by sliding on the spacebar. The autocomplete dictionary is also automatically updated using data from Bing, allowing it to recognize and suggest words relating to current trends and events. 65, 66. Similarly to Windows Phone, certain apps now display a narrow bar with 3 dots on it to indicate the presence of app. A pop menu accessible by swiping, clicking on the dots, or right-clicking. 67. To improve the usability of the desktop interface, A visible Start button was restored to the taskbar for opening the Start screen, and the Quick Links menu, accessed by right-clicking the Start button or pressing Win and X, now contains shutdown and sign-out options. Users can also modify certain user interface behaviors, such as disabling the upper hot corners for using the Charms and Recent Apps list, going to the desktop instead of the Start screen on login or after closing all apps on a screen, automatically opening the All Apps view on the Start screen when opened, and prioritizing desktop programs on the category sort mode on all apps. To assist users in learning the Windows 8 user interface, an interactive tutorial was also offered, along with a new help and tips app for additional information. 64, 68. In contrast, Windows RT 8.1 downplays the desktop interface further by not displaying the desktop tile on its default Start screen at all. However, it can still be manually added to the Start screen. 69. Windows Manager Chaitanya Sareen stated that the restoration of the visible Start button was intended to be a warm blanket for users who had become confused by the removal of the button on 8. The Start button was originally removed to reflect Windows 8's treatment of the desktop as an app rather than the main interface. 70. Further interface behavior changes are made on the April 2014 Windows 8.1 update, which are oriented towards non-touch environments, such as desktop and laptop PCs, that use a keyboard and mouse, and improve integration between Windows Store apps and the desktop. When a mouse is in use, the desktop is shown on Startup by default. The Start screen uses context menus instead of a toolbar across the bottom of screen for manipulating tiles. An auto-hiding title bar with minimize and close buttons is displayed within apps at the top of the screen. The taskbar can display and pin apps alongside desktop programs and be accessed from within apps, and visible search and power buttons are added to the Start screen. In non-touch environments, the default image viewer and media player programs were changed back to Windows Photo Viewer and Windows Media Player in lieu of the Xbox Video and Photos apps. 71, 72. Apps. The suite of preloaded apps bundled with Windows 8 were changed in Windows 8.1. PC settings was expanded to include options that were previously exclusive to the desktop control panel. Windows Store was updated with an improved interface for browsing apps and automatic updates. The Mail app includes an updated interface and additional features. The Camera app integrates Photosynth for creating panoramas, and additional editing tools were added to the Photos app, while integration with Flickr and Facebook was completely removed. A number of additional stock apps were also added, including Calculator, Food and Drink, Health and Fitness, Sound Recorder, Reading List, which can be used to collect and sync content from apps through OneDrive, Scan, and Help and Tips. 64, 73. For Windows RT users, Windows 8.1 also adds a version of Microsoft Outlook to the included Office 2013 RT suite. However, it does not support data loss protection, group policy, link integration, or creating emails with information rights management. 74. Windows Store is enabled by default within Windows To Go environments. 75. On January 31, 2020, Microsoft released the new Microsoft Edge web browser for Windows 8.1. 76. Online services and functionality. Windows 8.1 adds tighter integration with several Microsoft-owned services. OneDrive, formerly SkyDrive, 77, is integrated at the system level to sync user settings and files. Files are automatically downloaded in the background when they are accessed from the user's OneDrive folder, unless they are marked to be available offline. By default, only file metadata and thumbnails are stored locally. and repass points are used to give the appearance of a normal directory structure to provide backwards compatibility. The OneDrive app was updated to include a local file manager. OneDrive use on Windows 8.1 requires that a user's